My name's Owen, 53-year-old man. That was my journey to Africa and how it came about. I went to Tiglin. Tiglin is a treatment rehabilitation program for addicts. It's a very tough program, but it's beneficial if you use it. I went into Tiglin, I suppose, after a life of in and out of addiction. On the 8th of September in 2021. I left Clover Prison and went to Tiglin. And little did I know, but the journey I went on and still am on is amazing. So Tiglin, like I said, treatment, a lot of time to reflect and process and put things where they're supposed to be. I progressed on then to the day program, which was, the first part of the program is on the mountain in Ashford. The second part of the program is in Greystones. So I progressed on there and onto a day program. And as time went on then, I got an opportunity to do a bit of 1 day a week volunteering, and by chance there was a chap in Tiglin with me, and his uncle was actually Tommy from the Bluebell CDP, and we got an opportunity to come here 1 day a week, and I did, and I found somewhere I suppose that I was welcome and I felt part of, which is a huge thing. And so done me 1 day a week, enjoyed it. And that's when I completed the day program, I asked Tommy would he take me on the CE if I switched, and he said yeah. And today I'm still here in Bluebell enjoying it, and that's just a little, I suppose, piece of really quick fast forward of present day from where I was to where I am today. How Africa came about was Tiglin run an annual trip to Africa every year, and we had heard about it from people that went the previous year to me. And to be honest, it was a great coming from prison, coming from, I suppose, treatment, and having been on a holiday. To me initially it was a great chance to get a holiday, and that was me motive behind it. Originally was, here we go, I'll get a holiday. Haven't had a holiday in years. But little did I know, by saying yes, I wanted to go to Africa and being accepted by Tiglin to go to Africa. Little did I know what lay ahead of me, as in, it was crazy. It still is crazy to believe that someone like me could end up in Africa and helping, people, even if it's only briefly, to impact their lives. It's amazing. The journey to Africa began with setting up a fundraiser page, which is something I never done. So I set up a GoFundMe, and it wasn't going great. I think I had 50 or 60 euros in it 3 or 4 days before I was due to pay for my flights, and I was about to give up, and there were certain people around me told me, don't give up, keep it going, it'll happen. And believe it or not, all of a sudden it started to roll. I had 2-3 days to get my flight money, and within 2 or 3 days my flight money just appeared. And that gave me then great spirit to keep going, and I got in. I suppose I put more effort into it then, and eventually raised the money to get there. And I think it's important to say that as the months and weeks roll by to getting on the build up to going to Africa, you start to realise what you're going to go and do. The idea of a holiday disappeared. starting to realise that, you're going out there to represent, I suppose, the Tiglin as an organisation, and being part of the CDP. Then at that stage I was going out to represent them, and you start to realise then that what you do and what you say has a ripple effect on everything. And yeah, it gave me, I suppose, a great sense of responsibility to go and do the right thing, I suppose. We left Dublin Airport, headed for Amsterdam. 10 addicts heading for Amsterdam, but this time for a different reason, just to get a connecting flight. We landed in Cape Town, and the experience of even landing in Cape Town was huge. You clear customs and you walk through, and you start to see these signs and memorabilia towards Africa's history, I suppose. Long Walk to Freedom, and the Rainbow City or Country, or all these things start to appear, and you start to see. As we left the city, you're going into no street lights, no housing lighting, no nothing, just the lights of the van. So we arrived in Pearl. We got checked into our accommodation, and for whatever we could, we got as much sleep as we could that night, I suppose. We're all excited. So next morning we really began for us. We got up bright and early into the van, and we went to a place called Valcar, which organises funding for smaller projects throughout the region. And they had put together an itinerary for us. We had originally went out to finish the kitchen, build a kitchen in a soup house that a woman had started up, Vanessa. She had started up. She was a police officer. She had grown up in this in Chicago. It's a shanty town, and she had started the soup kitchen there. And I suppose we went out there. I suppose for me then, I went out, I'm good with my hands, good with, I suppose, anything I'm asked to do, I can pretty much turn my hand to do it. But we went out to finish the kitchen. I'm smiling now because, over here we use power tools, we use, we can cut things and get things done real fast. Little do we know that they have a thing called power shading over there. So at certain times of the day, the power goes off and you've no electricity whatsoever. And that just happened to be the parts of the days that we were supposed to be doing the kitchen. So it was back to hammers and chisels and handsaws. And, I suppose the materials weren't great. A lot of the material was salvaged material that, not so much salvaged, but I suppose seconds to buy it cheaper for them. So we went and we did, we pressed on and we did it. We were actually given nearly a week to do the kitchen. We had it done in 2 days. And that freed us up then to, I wasn't too happy with that, to do other things. I thought, for me, it was going out to build something, and everything in my life was judged on what I can do, how good I can do something, what I can build, what I can fix. Spending time with people is not a strong point of mine. So I suppose finishing the kitchen was a great achievement, but finishing it too quick forced me into having to, I suppose, interact with what we were out there, I suppose, looking at children in poverty, looking at whole communities in poverty. And before I went out to Africa, I probably would have been like a lot of people, as in, You know, oh, these get everything. They come over here to our country and they get everything. You know, look after their own, look after this. I suppose having experienced poverty at a completely different level has changed all that in my mind. You know, I can understand now why people from countries, third world countries, or you know, poverty-stricken countries come to Europe, and see massive wealth that we take for granted every day. And to us, we're just surviving, but to them, we're living beyond their dreams. You know, and we so I got a great understanding of that. I suppose the poverty level in Africa is completely and utterly beyond belief. You're either rich or you're poor. And poor means you don't eat. If you miss the soup kitchen, unlike Ireland, soup kitchens are a dime a dozen. They're everywhere. There is great support here for people that are struggling, and great organisations that help that and address that every single day. In Africa, a soup kitchen most days might only have a drink that they call it gloop or whatever it's called. They mix it and it provides all the vitamins the body needs, and you might get a bread roll. And we were looking at children coming after school and queuing up the length of the street just to get this drink and a bread roll. And one day we were there at a kitchen and we were only halfway through the kids that were to be fed. And they ran out of bread rolls and all they had left was the drink. And, you know, I asked, what are these going to do? And I was told that there's nothing can be done. Well, I stupidly asked, will they be fed at home? And we were told no, they weren't. So myself and another lad decided that we would venture over to the shop across the road, under the protection, I suppose, of the people that we were there to help. And because you don't wander around these towns on your own. So we went over and we bought, I think it was 20 or 30 slice pans, and we brought them back. And all we had to offer was a couple of slices of bread and this drink. And these people, these kids, were so happy and grateful to be getting that. You know, and the amount of slice pans we throw out in our houses every day. I don't suggest that we pack them up and send them over, but I just, you know, it makes you realise, you know, you think you're having it bad here, you're not having it bad. Yeah, and I don't mean to minimise people's struggles or their problems or the thing, but when you see it at a different level, you see how much we really have in our lives as opposed to what we haven't. So yeah, the journey then that I was forced to take because I couldn't escape doing a little bit of building work or a bit of that, you know, fixing things. I was forced into a situation where to go into these places and experience and listen to people's stories and look at what they live in every single day and how they try and navigate through that, I suppose. Was very, it took me on a very personal journey to the extent where I got a lot of realisation now of why certain things have to happen in people's lives and why, you know, why my life had to take the road I had to take for me to end up in Africa. It was a life-changing experience, an experience that I will repeat. You know, I suppose Africa, I don't want to skip over the whole poverty and the thing, but you know, I met some of the happiest people the children, all they wanted was a little piece of time. I was never asked for one thing when I was there. Nobody ever asked me for money, or never asked me for food, or never asked me for anything while I was there. Going into these places, into the townships, into the orphanages, we went to schools, and at no time did any of these children ever ask for anything more than what we offered. You know, and which I found amazing. They were happy with 2 sweets as opposed to a bag of sweets. We played games with them one day, just throwing the ball around. And we had a brilliant day just doing so much simple stuff. And walked away from it unbelievably satisfied. We had been given on a schedule 2 days off, where we could do anything we wanted for them 2 days. And we decided through the trip that we didn't even want these 2 days off, but we took 1 day, I suppose, and we all decided that we wanted to go back to one of the townships on our other day off. And that's how much of an impact, you know, I suppose, going to these townships and going to these orphanages and schools had on us all. And when I say us all, we ranged in ages from, I think the oldest man there was 57, and the youngest lad to come with us was in his 20s. So, you know, we had a great mixture of people going here. But then to see younger people, you know, forgetting about, you know, no, we're not going on a holiday, we won't take that day off, we'll go up to a township and spend the day there, as opposed to going out, going to the beach or anything like that. So yeah, that was a great experience. The day before we were leaving, we had a meeting with, in Valcar to do a reflection on what we had seen and what we had experienced, which was a powerful day, and brought a lot of tears, brought a lot of happiness. We had a really good meeting that day. But I remember standing on the balcony, and one person, one of the organisers of it, asked me, you know, how was I and what did I think of it? And I remember my reply was, it was the first time in my life I knew where I was supposed to be. Yeah, so that was really powerful. I knew that, I know still to this day that we have to go back. We have to go back, and it's not to change anything. It's not to find anything for me. It's just to make a little piece of a difference. A small piece of a difference in someone's life for even 10 minutes can have a massive effect for the rest of their lives. You know, and I suppose that's what I'm hoping to bring back again, is just a little piece of a difference. A lot of, we were in a room one day with a lot of younger kids from Africa that were doing outreach work in their own communities. And I suppose the statement of one of them kids that day really sang it out, of the hopelessness within them, and was like, you know, this is as far as we go. We don't go any further than this. What they were doing was going to crashes and helping, you know, with kids and all. And as we got into that, and I asked her to explain the statement she had made, was like, well, everything's against us and everything is, and they couldn't see the difference they were making already. You know, they couldn't see the difference they were having on their communities by going and helping each other. And as I asked the question, what would you really love to be? And, you know, this girl says she'd love to be a lawyer, solicitor or whatever. And I asked her what stood in her way, and she said, well, books and this. And I said, well, books can be got very easily. And you know, the divide between rich and poor really showed out that day, I suppose, in that room. You know, where we get this far and we don't go any further. And you know, I suppose for me, I try to let them see that each little step they made and each little, you know, little bit of difference they made over the years, it would become so great that it couldn't be ignored anymore. It couldn't be dismissed, and that people would have to start to realise and see, you know, what is really needed and what has to change. And I suppose through my own journey was great, because I wasn't going into these places as somebody that read all this in a book or experienced hardship, you know, second hand. I had fought my own battles and experienced my own hardship and my hard times. So it was great to be able to go and, you know, offer somebody a little piece of hope, knowing that, you know, you had found bits of hope yourself, and to be able to pass that on was brilliant. So yeah, I'm back here, back in the CDP. You know, I suppose I'm one of the lucky ones. I found somewhere where I'm believed in. I suppose I'm trusted. And that was a great benefit for me. Or somebody took a chance on me and I grabbed that chance. And I'm back here today. I love what I do. I love being in the CDP. I love being involved. At times I still struggle with people and I still struggle with life. But you know, each day I still get up, I put one foot forward and walk forward, and that's all I have to do. And with the support of the people here, I get that. And as for what lies ahead, I have every plan. I'm heading back to Africa. I'm going to start my fundraising now very shortly. And I'm going to extend my stay in Africa to probably a month this time, as opposed to the 12 days that I did. I'm looking at places for placements, and I have people helping me with that. Africa to me is hope, is a purpose, is an understanding. It's a whole different meaning of life.